Hi Legion, John Hitler, co-founder of Evoking Genius and co-creator of the Genius Discovery Process, with another edition of Pure Genius. You're health conscious, aren't you? You worry about your wellness, your sleep, your energy level? Well, I got a question for you. What is the source of your lighting, especially at work, doing to your wellness and your health and your energy level? Do you know? Do you even recognize what the lighting source is? Well, today on Pure Genius, we're going to go through different forms of lighting and how they affect your well-being. We're also going to give you tips for how to improve your health if you're stuck with poor lighting. Want to play? Great, let's spin the big wheel. So here's the thing, there's all kinds of sources of light. I'm going to deal with primarily three. First is the easy one, is natural light, sunlight, light that comes from outdoors. Second one is CFLs. These are the little curly Q light bulbs that you see everywhere now that save energy and are all the rage. They're having us replace the old incandescent light bulbs with the CFLs. And the third is ultraviolet lights, the long tubes that you see especially in schools and industrial or commercial buildings. Oftentimes they have UV lighting. Well, that's the place we'll start first. Do you have UV lighting in your place of work? You may have it at your home as well. A lot of times you'll see it in kitchens or in garages. You'll see UV lighting. But at workplaces, it's everywhere. And they can be in the ceilings, covered by those panels. Or oftentimes in cubicles, they're tucked underneath like a built-in cabinet. And they shine on the desk area from underneath a cabinet. It's very typical. Well, if you have those, perhaps they're affecting your wellness. Now here's how they do it. First and foremost, there's a much larger incidence or reporting of migraines or at least mild headaches from people that have UV lights versus CFLs. Why is that? It's pretty simple. The migraines tend to be people that have a tendency to get migraines. It's affected or it's triggered by the UV lights. And that's because they flicker. Your eyeball can see and catch all of the flickers, even though put together, it's kind of like a movie reel. If you run it really slowly, you can see the individual frames, but it moves fast enough that we don't ever see an individual frame. We simply see a running shot. UV lights work the same way. Each individual flicker, your eye can actually pick up, and it's so straining on your brain it gives you a migraine, or it gives you a headache. Well, not very helpful, huh? That's one of the conclusions from doctors and all kinds of different sources. The other secondary source of detriment to your health is EMFs, electromagnetic fields. Now, to be fair, your microwave, your cell phone, that cheap alarm clock that you've got at your bedside, all of those, your television, your computer screen, they all emit electromagnetic fields, or EMFs. But UV lights do as well, and they become problematic when they are closer, when the light source is closer than 2 feet to especially to your head. They start giving trouble. Now, from the World Health Organization, their claim is the source of ultraviolet lights, UV lights, the tubes at your work, increase your incidence of cancer by 10 to 30%, depending on how closely you sit to the light source. That's a gigantic increase in cancer incidence directly related to EMFs. So what you really want to be is you want to be at least 2 feet away to be safe. And in a cubicle, that's sometimes not possible. The area that you work is right underneath that light source. Well, we've got remedies for you in a sec. Know that that's prevalent, and there's not a whole lot you can do if that's the light source for your commercial building. The other piece that's the myth here with the migraines and the EMS, here's something that makes some sense. When they checked the source of the lighting in commercial buildings, what they noticed is that also a lot of those buildings had no natural ventilation. All air conditioned or heat or climate controlled buildings with no windows that open, especially skyscrapers or high-rise buildings, they don't have windows that open. So check, is your headache due more to the lighting source or to the lighting source and or improper ventilation, no fresh air? The way you check that, turn off the ultraviolet light, replace it with a small lamp, bring a small lamp from home or buy a small lamp that uses a CFL, the curlicue kind of light bulb, and see, does your mood and your headache and your eye strain improve? And if it does, then you'll know it's the lighting source more than the poor ventilation. Clear enough. All right, so here's some other myths. We'll debunk one, and that is that ultraviolet lights disrupt circadian rhythms or your sleep patterns. The truth is, unless you're underneath or using the ultraviolet lights right up until the time you sleep, it should not be a factor at all. They emit what's called blue lights. There's the color in the light. We don't see it as blue, but it's got a blue tint to it. And the blue lights really do kind of keep you awake. They disrupt the pattern, but that dissipates after about an hour. So if you're at work and then you come home and have dinner and you've got an evening at home, the ultraviolet light should not disrupt your circadian rhythms, although many places report that they do. Again, your experience, you can play with this, and if you're not having problems, if you are having problems sleeping, probably it's not the ultraviolet lights. There's probably other sleep hygiene problems, but that's a common one that gets bantered about. So the other big ones are dizziness, or especially people have a tendency for vertigo or Meniere's disease, kind of similar where they can have a tendency to be dizzy. Ultraviolet lights exacerbate that problem, and again, it's due to that flickering, especially before they're ready to crap out. They lose some of their light and they flicker very noticeably. That will make you dizzy or give you a headache, or if you're prone to migraines, it'll trigger the migraines because your eye has to pick up all that flickering. And the last one we mentioned is eye strain. Eye strain and headaches obviously will go hand in hand. You're just straining too hard to see it. So here's the remedy. If you've got ultraviolet lights at your workplace, ideally you control the light in your cubicle or in your workspace. If you do, turn off the UV lighting and buy a small lamp. Buy a small lamp that takes a CFL or the curlicue lights. Great, that solves the problem. That's better than a UV light. Best is if you can use all natural light. So if you're in a cubicle or you have a private office that has natural light, turn off the light source altogether and just use the natural light. You've probably seen this with teachers. If you've been in a classroom, what they'll do to get the attention or calm the room. The room's disruptive and in a frenzy. Little kids, 4th graders, 5th graders. Well, teacher just goes over and turns off usually the UV lights. And those in schools, those are above. When you turn off the lights, it darkens the room just a little bit, but they still have lots of natural light because schools have windows. And you watch how the kids calm down. Light affects us in terms of our franticness. So if you turn the light off in your office and use natural lighting, it gives a much more sense of calm and peacefulness, and your body is simply not affected by as many EMFs or electromagnetic fields. It's a simple trick. If you can get away with it, that's great, especially if you have poor ventilation as well, because you're usually in a skyscraper. So, remedies. We promised you remedies. First, we've mentioned it. Replace your ultraviolet light. Even if you're not allowed to take it out, just turn it off and replace it with a CFL. That will help immensely. Better is if you can use all natural light. That's even better. There's also EMF radiation. They're pieces of ceramic is what they are, and they look like the size of about a quarter. And you stick them on your computer screen or on your cell phone. They have them built in, small ones to build into your cell phone. You can put them on an alarm clock or a television screen or a microwave oven, any place that emits large amounts of EMFs. And what the ceramic does is it absorbs the EMFs within a small cubic foot radius and protects you from it. Put it on your computer screen and you'll find it really helps with your eye strain. It won't help with the eye strain. It'll help with the sense you get from the computer screen, because you're absorbing all that power that goes through your laptop or your desktop computer, especially through the computer screen. So that's a great way to do it. Two more. One is, if you have to work with ultraviolet lights, move them at least 2 feet away from where you're working, or move yourself at least 2 feet away from where you're working. Ideally, you can reconfigure your cubicle or your workspace so you can get further away from the light source. That'll help the dizziness, the migraines, the headaches, the eye strain. It'll help all of that just to move further away. It'll also just be healthier to be that much further away from the EMFs. The last one, which is simple and easy and super healthy, is get outside during the day. So at a break or at lunchtime, get outside into natural light. Natural light is the healthiest. They call sunshine, vitamin D, the sunshine drug, because sunshine, our skin and our body absorbs natural light, and it helps our mood. It helps us sleep better. You notice you sleep more in the wintertime because there's less light. It helps your circadian rhythms to be in natural light. So get outside at lunchtime and get some natural light. Hey, I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, like and share this with your constituency. I'm sure they'll be interested in leading a happier lifestyle as well, and you'll help them see the light. Until we meet again on Pure Genius, all the best.